In the hearts of the lonely, spread around the world, there's a little bit of hope that this will turn around, and we'll all see that heaven is here and now. Oh, and I still believe you are the one who wears the crown. Walls are burning down, 'cause your love is a fire, fire.
The time's different, the vibe shifted, our minds sickened. I keep trying to keep hope alive, 'cause time's ticking. We're fine dying, we're fine dining in fine linens. We die empty, 'cause most of us never tried living. Cage for the broken lives, stay while they slowly die. Praised, I went out my mind, prayed when I saw the signs. Hypnotized, victimized, empty lies, emphasized, kicked aside. In the time, still we rise. Rose out the grave like a day shift. Died for the nameless who laid on the pavement. Drained from the pain, but I'm patient, 'cause victory is coming, I can taste it.
In the hearts of the lonely, spread around the world, there's a little bit of hope that this will turn around, and we'll all see that heaven is here and now. Oh, and I still believe you are the one who wears the crown. Walls are burning down, 'cause your love is a fire, fire.
Point is to the light. 25, but I'm facing 25 to life. I've been up for like 25 nights, praying that the Lord can change my wrongs into rights. Risk it all just to live. I've been running for years, had some problems at home, guess they follow me here. Yeah, they can hate me now, still never break me down. I got the faith of a titan, God's gonna bring me out. Lost some battles, but we win the war, read the headlines. I'ma fight till I'm finished to see the deadline. Never give up the fight, never give up on life. Keep on running through the darkness until you see the light.
And I still believe you are the one who wears the crown. Walls are burning down, 'cause your love is a fire, fire. Oh, I still believe that you are breaking through the clouds, lighting up this town, and your love is a fire, fire.
2024 was an amazing year. Back in June, we had Youth Extreme. We invited young people all around us. They came to Gallup. We had an amazing seminar by Pastor Martin Klock. He prayed for all of the young people to get filled with the Holy Ghost. And then they went out all day. We started street preaching at the flea market. In the evening, we met back up at the church. We had the No Bull Rodeo, a roping competition. We had a guest band from Farmington, New Mexico. We saw many young people involved testifying during the day. And at the end of the day, many people were saved, many decisions for Christ. On July 4th, we had a Celebrate America concert in our church parking lot. Our local bands played. We also had a patriotic presentation. We had many patriotic giveaways. We also did gift card giveaways. We saw many visitors come, and by the end of the night, many decisions were made for Christ. In August, we had a back to school bash. We gave away about 300 backpacks to the community. We saw over 500 people in attendance and over 120 decisions for Christ. This year, we had our 4th annual Fall Festival. I can remember the line on the north side of our building going all the way down past the door, down into the gravel parking lot. It was an amazing sight to see that many people come to our church. Also, many of the people from our church were involved in the event. They had decorated their trunks, dressed in costumes. We appreciate all your help for that. The puppet team did an amazing job putting together their skits. We had 3 different men from the church preach altar calls. and it was just amazing to see Decisions for Christ at the end of the night. One of the highlights of our year, we do many welcome dinners throughout the year with our follow-up team led by Anthony. He invites many of the new converts to come to these dinners. Every single dinner we had this year was a success. The ladies did a wonderful job putting all the food together, feeding all these people. Each dinner was packed out with visitors. It was also packed out with workers from the church that sat with new Christians and just followed up on them. And these were amazingly successful, and I appreciate all your help. Throughout the months of the summer, we're able to have the arts crawls, and this brings thousands of people right in front of our 180. Some of the highlights, we invited Prescott to come and do the Johnny Cash special. The place was packed out. They also sang some songs outside. Many people were saved that night. We had different rappers come from Mesa. We also had Vindicated from Chin Lee. We had a family fun night with our puppet team. Very fruitful time, every altar call, packed house. We did a concert in Whoville. During this event, it was so full, there was standing room only. We literally ran out of chairs. We had a guest appearance by the Grinch. Our bands played Christmas songs. The ladies in the church decorated the 180. It looked like Whoville. By the end of the night, we had many people saved, and it was just an amazing time. We invited a hip-hop musical from Rochester, New York to come called Ebenezer. We did this play 2 nights in our church. Many of our people were involved in this. You guys did an incredible job acting. The first night we had 275 in attendance. The second night we had 338 in attendance. And over the course of both of those nights, we saw over 110 decisions for Christ.
What was the highlight of your year?
I think it's just making that first commitment to come into church and for my salvation, stuff like that. So
the play was very nice. I really enjoyed it. The kids were cool.
The play was very adorable and inspiring. Got me a Bible right now.
What's the highlight of your year?
The highlight of my year was when I had my horse accident. The horse flipped with me, so I tore my MCL and messed up my meniscus, and then that's what brought me to church. So that's my highlight.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite event or 180 or anything that you've done this year?
Yeah, when Anthony's rapping, yeah.
Do you mind being on camera again real quick?
Camera?
Yeah. What was the highlight of your year?
It's like coming to church.
Do you have a favorite event or 180 or anything that we did this year?
The Grinch? Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
T-Bone,
Yes,
how are you?
tired.
What's the highlight of your year?
Highlight of the year. People getting saved. What else?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. What was the highlight of your guys' year?
Jesus. Getting to know Jesus. Basically, yeah.
Thank you, guys. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, and you? What's the highlight of your year?
I'd say the highlight of my year was the softball game, because it was the day right after I got saved, and I was being around a bunch of people, a bunch of saved people, and it really enlightened me and boosted my spirit.
And what's your favorite event or 180 that we've done this year?
The 180 where Jericho came when he was rapping for us. I like that one really cool. It was really good.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
What's your name?
Jeremiah.
What do you do here?
I'm the sound guy.
What's your highlight of your year?
Honestly, seeing all the people come.
What's your favorite event or 180 that we've done this year?
The recent Grinch event.
Thank you. How's it going?
Good.
What's the highlight of your year?
My highlight of the year is watching the church grow pretty quickly, and all by the grace of God and Pastor Payne's leadership and Pastor Steve. I totally learned a lot from them, and I'm looking for what the future holds.
Thank you. What's the highlight of your year?
The highlight of my year was probably, I'd say the Christmas play. It was pretty fun, eventful.
Thank you. Andre, how are you?
Good, how are you?
What is the highlight of your year?
Skating in church.
What is your favorite event or 180 that we've done this year?
Ooh. I would say the Whoville play recently, and Vindicated the rapper for hip hop night. That was nice. Stay in school.
What is the highlight of your year?
I guess joining children's church. Yeah.
What is your favorite event or 180 that we've done this year?
180. The Grinch.
2, 1.
Hello, my name is Elisha Thornburg, and I grew up in an okay home by many standards. My parents, they went to church faithfully. They were very involved, and from a young age, I knew right from wrong. I knew the high standards of church. I knew what to do, how to do it, but my dad, he had started to drift away from church. He stopped being involved with the church less, and my mom started to follow him shortly after. From that point on, my parents had started to disengage from church. They began to argue against each other. They began to verbally and physically abuse each other, and as a young kid, that can really damage you. And so it really desensitized my emotions to different aspects of my life. And from that point on, my parents had their arguments, their abuse had gotten worse. My parents had reverted to alcohol and drugs. My father began to become a drug dealer. He had different people over every night. My mom didn't like it, my sister didn't like it, I didn't like it. And my parents had separated shortly after. They were married, but they never got a divorce. And I began to put on a front at school. I would go to school happy, looking like my life is together, like my parents had never fought, like I lived with both. But on the inside, I was very damaged. I was very broken. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I began to seek after different things that could cure my brokenness. And in middle school, I began to seeking popularity. I began seeking just recognition and acceptance. I began chasing after acceptance. I began seeking recognition. I began seeking popularity, something that could cure my emotionless brokenness inside of me. And it just didn't work. It wasn't the right thing for me. When my parents divorced, it made things even worse. My father went to prison shortly after. I was brutally damaged by that. I thought my father had forgotten about me. I thought he just left me behind. And going into high school, I wasn't mentally prepared for what was coming. I, again, was seeking popularity, recognition, and social acceptance, but it still wasn't working for me, and I began seeking a cure in other things, in smoking weed, in partying, in going out, and it was never fulfilling to me. And so after graduation, I had begun to seek more partying, more fun, according to what other people had said, and I again was not fulfilled by this, and I began to go in a downward spiral of anxiety and depression, and it just sent me into a bad place. I felt worthless. I didn't know what I was gonna do, and as soon as all my friends left for college, I had no idea what I wanted to do, what I was going to do. And for a moment, for a very short time, I thought I was going to go homeless. I thought I was going to be poor for the rest of my life. And my mother and sister had always dragged me along to church. We'd go in and out to church every month, every other month. And we'd go to different church events. And so one night, I had been invited to a church dinner downtown in Gallup. And that evening, I'd met the pastor. The pastor invited me to church the next morning. He'd offered me a ride. And I just said, what the heck, might as well just go. I have nothing else to lose. I'm in the lowest point of my life. And that Sunday morning is when I kneeled down and I gave my life to Jesus Christ, and my life has been completely different. It's been forever changed. Jesus Christ has blessed me with so much. He's given me back my emotion. He's giving me mental stability. He's given me direction. He has supernaturally moved in my life. He's provided for me. I'm now moved out. I live on my own. I have a full-time job, and I give all the credit and glory to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. My name is Elisha Thornburg, and that's my life 180.
This year, back in April, we had Steve Gabriel come from the UK. He gave out words that were very timely to the people in the congregation, prayed for many people. His sermons were very encouraging. In June, we had revival with Martin Klock. His preaching was very powerful. Every sermon seemed to hit you right in the heart. And by the end of the week, many people had received words. Many people were healed. It was a great time and a great revival. In the month of November, Roman Gutierrez came and did the Twice Dead revival. He shared his riveting testimony about his life. We saw record attendance during the revival. By the end of the week, over 40 decisions for Christ. It was a very fruitful time. This year we had many visiting preachers, Pastor Tori Williams, Pastor Rich Cox, Pastor Richard Ruby, Pastor Scott Lamb, Pastor Jesse Morales. In September, we had our Reservation Revolution with Pastor Chris Hart. We served Navajo tacos in the evening. This was our largest service of the year, 379 people. One of the highlights of this year were all the new converts that were baptized in the church. Specifically from August to October, we were able to baptize 38 new converts. This year, our conference theme was Eternal Perspective. Our main speakers were Pastor Paul Stevens and Pastor Greg Mitchell. Our conference was very successful. We were able to launch out many missionaries and many pioneers throughout the U.S.
Hello, my name's Emanuel. I grew up in church. My mom would read the Bible to me sometimes, and I would pray sometimes, but I didn't have that relationship with God. I would go to church, but I would just go just for the show. And so it didn't take long for me to fall into the things of this world. I remember people telling me, have fun, live while you're young, and see what the world has to offer you. So it didn't take long for me to fall into drugs and alcohol. I remember having my first drink of alcohol when I was 19. At that time, I would party all night with my friends, and I would sleep for 3 hours, get up, take a shot. I would go to work, and then as soon as I got off work, I would go to the store, get a fifth, light a joint, and then party again. This went on for years, and it came to a point where my wife and I sat down and we were disgusted with the way that we were living. I remember feeling ashamed, depressed, and angry, and we used to wake up feeling sick and not remembering what had happened the night before. I remember I used to think that just drinking and it would just be for fun, but it wasn't working anymore. I felt so empty. So my wife and I, she brought it to me saying that maybe we should go to church. I remember walking into the church. It was a Wednesday, and listening to the sermon, I could feel this overwhelming feeling that there is hope and that I don't have to keep living this way anymore. They pulled the altar call. I raised my hand, I said the sinner's prayer. I repented of my sins and I gave my life to Jesus Christ. And after that, God has blessed me with a new job that I love, and He blessed me with a family, I have a son, and I am no longer in debt as well. and I just feel brand new. My name's Emanuel, and this is my life 180.
What's the highlight of your year?
My highlight?
Yeah.
Giving out my testimony at the 180.
My highlight of my year was what God has done for me.
The highlight of the year is, well, actually today is my third year being sober, so I'm enjoying that so far. So that's probably the biggest highlight I've had so far today, being sober 3 years.
What was the highlight of your year?
The highlight of my year was having my son. Just being saved for a year.
When I got to do my very first outreach in Tehachapi, New Mexico.
The highlight of my year for 180 would be for the Johnny Cash contribute. It was really nice.
What was your highlight of the year?
The highlight of my year would be seeing Pastor Payne come back. It was just good to see him. An event that stuck out to me this year would be the Ebenezer play. It was just great to be a part of that.
It's good.
What is the highlight of your year?
The highlight of my year, Disciple outreaches were very well. Ebenezer was a fun musical. Oh, the Youth Extreme was pretty good. But I'd say the one biggest event that really moved me and was really touching was Conference. Conference was a good one. Conference was good.
Thank you.
The year has been incredible. It's been an amazing year. It's been a long time since I've seen the fruit that's come because of the year and all the outreaches we've done. It's a revival. Things are happening. You guys, you young men rising up in the ministry. I'm so excited about what's happening in our church.
Just seeing God move. God has helped us with so many things. His blessings are just immense.
My name is Sheretta. I came from a good Christian home. We were part of a church. Everything that the church had, from youth group to vacation Bible study, we were always a part of. Growing up, I didn't really have a relationship with Jesus. And as I got older, I got into bad habits. And in high school, that's where I met my abusive ex, physically, mentally, emotionally abusive. I was in that for a while, and that's where I developed anxiety and depression. I took antidepressants for 3 years, and it did not work. It just numbed the pain and the feeling. One night I was in the bathroom, and that's where God found me. That was the first time I asked God for help. And the next day I was able to get out of that abusive relationship. And after getting out of that abusive relationship, I went to Denver, hoping that I could find a better life there. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The anxiety and the depression got worse there because I didn't have any family. So I asked God for help again, and that's when He spoke to me about coming home. And that's when my sister introduced me to the door. And everything that Pastor Anna Carrico preached that day resonated with me. And for the altar call, I felt God speak to me. So I raised my hand and I went down to the altar. I gave my life to Jesus and I repented of my sin. That's when God spoke to me again and told me to get baptized. And that's when the church announced that they were doing the baptism the following Sunday. And that Sunday, I gave my life to Jesus. I don't feel the anxiety. I don't feel the depression. I look at things more positively now. He blessed me with a really good job. He blessed me with the church. They were very welcoming. They are very welcoming. And He blessed me with my family on being there for me through this whole transition. I just want to thank God for everything that He's done for me. My name is Sheretta, and that is my life 180.
Over the past 5 months, our congregation encountered some obstacles, and at every turn, you guys responded. We were able to build a lot of momentum over the past 5 months. We did a lot of events. We saw a lot of visitors come to the church. We saw a lot of people added to the church, many decisions for Christ. And I just want to say that our church here in Gallup is resilient. You guys are incredible. I wouldn't want to serve God anywhere else with anyone else. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you do. I really appreciate you. I just want to give a big shout out to every person in our church that's involved in any level of ministry. Your hard work does not go unnoticed. I know some of you give up much time for practices. You're away from your family. You're doing things for the church, serving the church in some way. And I just want to say how much I appreciate all of this. And a lot of the fruit that we have is because of you and your service. Thank you. The phrase that keeps coming to my mind is tipping point. Over the past few months, we've seen amazing breakthrough. And I believe that this is going to lead to an incredible year of fruitfulness, an incredible year of church growth. We're going to see single people get married. We're going to see couples raised up for the harvest field. And I believe our church is going to remember this year as a year of supernatural breakthrough and increase. And God is going to help us.
These days my heart's always on the run. These days the world's spinning out of control. These days are fast and they're furious. Feels like the worst is ahead of us. Sometimes it's hard to feel at home, but I believe that you and I are in the right place at the right time. God called us by name, and He doesn't make mistakes. I know we were born to shine bright in a dark world that needed some light. Don't have to be afraid. Maybe we were made for these days.
Just needs the help that's inside of us. What if it's more than a destiny? What if we're part of a masterpiece? Until our Father brings us home.
I believe that you and I are in the right place at the right time. God called us by name, and He doesn't make mistakes. I know we were born to shine bright in a dark world that needed some light. Don't have to be afraid. Maybe we were made for these days. Maybe we were made to say when it gets hard, to love with open arms, something to embrace. Maybe we were made for these days. I believe that you and I are in the right place at the right time. God called us by name, and He doesn't make mistakes. I know we were born to shine bright in a dark world that needed some light. Don't have to be afraid. Maybe we were made for these days.
Whatever comes our way, God gives us the strength.
Maybe we were made
For these days.
We're called to change the world, and we know exactly what to do.